Good morning, boys.
Good morning.
How are we today? We are here in lovely Warwick. Is that Larry's Deli right there?
Yeah.
We are right across the street from Larry's Deli. Love Warwick. Love a Warwick job on Friday, even better. So we've got a tank, or we have a fill pipe right here that the homeowner did not know, purchased the home 26 years ago. Normally when the fill pipe is that far from a home, it's going to be a remote fill. In other words, they'll install the tank here, and if you're in a city area, they'll pipe out a remote fill to the roadway so the oil man can just stay on the road and fill the tank. So that's unusual. So we got a metal detector out, and we're actually getting an indication right here. So that's rare also. So we're going to stay off this sidewalk because it's going to be considered the village sidewalk. And normally anytime you get near or touch, depending upon what shape it is, no matter, you got to get a permit. So we're going to begin to investigate. So I always talk about 811 mark out digs. So every time we put a bucket in the ground, by law, I've got to get an 811 dig on the property. So here it is. You have the different utility companies come out. So right there, they're marking out yellow is the gas line. So that tells me the gas line going in. You can see the gas meter right up there. Blue means water. Here's our water line, which comes right in. And then green means septic. And you'll see, here's the green. And it comes in as an angle and kind of goes right by where that assumed tank is. So we got to go inside now and see exactly where it is. When they mark out these lines, obviously everybody's trying to minimize liability. So believe it or not, when I see that, they're liable up to 3 feet to the left and 3 feet to the right. So it's actually 6 feet of a line. So if I dig right here, which is clearly saying I'm not going to hit it, and I hit the line and it's 3 feet, I'm responsible. So they have a 6-foot breezeway here of where they're actual liable. So the boys are coming out now, and we're going to mark out where it actually comes out through the foundation, so I have a better idea. Just got to dig real slow, and that holly bush is important to him. So we're going to try to gently pull that out.
It's all gone. Great. Just get rid of the top. That's all I care about. I had this nightmare that 20 years from now, some kid's going to fall through the tank. Of course, you worry about oil being in there. I couldn't stop it. I hope whoever did it did it the right way. I am.
So Sam's cutting the tank. Craig's texting his lovely bride. Probably, what's going on? Nothing.
NFL stuff going on.
I was making bets. NFL is exciting. Good parking. One of the many reasons why we love Warwick. That house, I'm being told, was built in the 20s. So probably from 1920 to 1945, it had coal. Then that underground tank was installed. And then the natural gas probably came into play in this area in the 70s. So the tank's 25, 35 years in the ground, in use. But then when they switched over to gas, nobody told them anything to do with that underground tank. So now it lay dormant in that ground for 50 years. So, which is actually worse. It's not a good thing because it will definitely build up with condensation. I didn't show you, but we stuck the tank. It had about 4 inches of water in it, which is automatically a bad indication, specifically when the top, the fill and the vent were sealed off as secure as they were. So I know no surface rain got in there. So, the question now is, how did 4 inches of water get into that tank over the span of it not being used? Normally, the condensation sits at the bottom, starts to rust, creates a hole from the inside out, and then the surface rain and the rise and fall of the aquifer pushes the water up and into these tanks. So I'm gonna have a slight feeling that this tank's gonna have holes in it, and it's gonna fail inspection. So we are in Warwick, and the inspector in Warwick requires that we clean that tank and leave it in the ground until he comes on site. He wants to see the tank come up out of the ground. So all these townships have different compliance regulations. You got to comply with what they want, otherwise you don't get your C of O. So we'll cut it open, enter it, clean it, we'll pump out all that product, and then we'll know then whether she's a good tank or a bad tank. Sam's taking a while cutting it, so that tells me it's a thick tank. Pretty bad, huh, Mike? Oh, that's the one of the returns resumptions. Yeah, I don't want that. Thank you. Look at how thick that is. It's ridiculous. Get it with a pad. Watch out. Can I pad? Point at it, Mike. Yep. That's the water coming in.
sidewalk.
So we just cleaned the tank. Got a few holes going on here.
You know, I don't know if they would, yeah.
So
I don't know how to professionals would consider determining.
it's a bad one. So he's calling his carrier a failed inspection.
You can get it done cheaper because you get it done all
We'll just line that with plastic and begin to backfill so we don't contaminate the new overburden and fill soil. Okay, so for now we're finished up here. Got that roadway clean. Put his holly tree back. That's not going to make it. We'll be back here in 3 weeks to do a remediation, and then we'll pull it out again. But that's what they asked for, so we're going to get the carrier involved. Not feeling confident about it. He's only been with that carrier for 5 years, so the bulk of pollution exclusions have been written in the year 2003 to 2006. So I'm going to say he's not going to get coverage. This seems fairly bad. A couple of those holes started 30 years ago. Well, I'm not sure actually how bad this impact is going to be, because I know groundwater is going to play a role. Also, you can trigger third party through your insurance carrier. And the reason why I feel potentially third parties involved here, well, number one, the state owns the aquifer. So anytime that you contaminate the groundwater, that will trigger third party. The other is if the contamination goes off-site to municipality roadway, where obviously oil is going to flow downhill. So it's going to be somewhere in that region that we'll be excavating. Certainly going to be over the sidewalk. So there's some gray areas here. Obviously the carrier never has your best interest. I don't care what they say. Been doing this 27 years. They don't. But another fine job by Tank Masters Environmental. We'll get back to you on the remediation.